One aspect of marriage that rarely gets talked about, at least in the circles that I follow, is taking up the slack or bearing each other's burdens. The past week has been out of the ordinary. My husband got really sick at the first of the week and was sick the entire week. And so I picked up a lot of the things that he normally would do through the day. We both have kind of a schedule of chores that we do, and one of the things that he does regularly is the laundry, and he loves to do it, and he's kind of just taken that on, and I haven't been doing it, so I help when I can. But it was laundry day. He was definitely in no condition to be helping or in any capacity to do anything, really. And so I decided just to get back into it. It had been a while since I had taken up the reins of doing laundry. But, it's important to take up that slack with joy and don't resent it or begrudgingly do the extra chores, because I told him, he says, "Oh, I feel so bad and that you're doing it, have to do all that." And I was like, it's probably going to be me one day, and you're going to have to do my chores and your chores too. And so it all evens out, and I'm happy to do it. Just wanted him to get well. So, and at the time of recording this, he's back to getting well. He's still getting over it, but he's doing much, much better, and we're so thankful for that. One of the things that I am doing this morning is watering, because we are heading into a heat wave here. We always get kind of a heat wave this time of the year, but this one is going to be more prolonged, and it's going to be hotter than usual. So I went through and watered the entire garden really early. It was around 6:30 in the morning, and try to get everything watered so that it won't protest the weather that's coming. And so far it's doing good. We are still in the heat wave here, and so it's a very important thing to take care of that garden, especially those small plants. Give them some water, give them something to fight with, because it has been pretty hot around here. Absolutely love early mornings, getting outside, doing anything outside when it's cool, and the sun hasn't come shining down on the property yet, doing the laundry is one of those things. And although Casey has taken it over, I do enjoy getting out from time to time and helping out with that, because it's just a fun thing to do. We have always enjoyed doing things that are hands-on, that keep us busy, and the way that we do the laundry kind of reflects that, because it's a lot of movement, a lot of, hands-on, instead of just putting it in the machine and then putting it in the dryer. It just, I don't know, it just gets you outside, gets you moving, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is get out this time of the morning and get those clothes and towels and sheets on the line so that they can dry in this hot weather that we're having. They were dry early because it's just been so hot. All right, so I am going to get on some bread. This is the next day, and I worked inside most of the day because this was one of the hottest days. And I'm just kind of playing around with the recipe here. It's kind of like my sourdough whole grain discard bread, except with 100% ancient wheat, and it did okay. I'm still working on it to try to figure out a way to make it just a little bit fluffier and more moist. If you haven't worked with ancient wheat before, it has a different gluten structure. It's not as stretchy, and it doesn't develop gluten quite the way that modern day wheat does. And so there are some things that you have to take into consideration, and it's just one of the things I'm working on this recipe, and as soon as I can get it lined out, I'm definitely going to be bringing it to the blog. These turned out good. It's not that they were bad, but there's room for some improvement, and I want to make sure that it is perfect before I bring you the recipe, so that when you make it, it will be perfect as well. Now, I have to tell you, I had, for the first time since we have had chickens for years, I had a bad egg this morning, and wow, I was like, okay, I gotta check all the eggs now. And so I am doing the float test on all these eggs that were sitting out. If your eggs sink, they're good. If they float, they're bad. And so I'm just going through washing all of these eggs, and I'm going to put them in the fridge. It's that time of the year. I just don't think I'm going to leave them out anymore on the counter. Maybe a few, but not as many as I had, because I just couldn't believe it. I have never had that happen here, and when it happens, it's like, okay, we can't let that happen again because it's disgusting. And so I am taking care of these eggs. The older ones, I'm going to make boiled eggs with those, and then I'm going to put take a marker and put like 1, 2, 3, 4 on these cartons of eggs, and use the oldest ones first. That way I don't have to worry about any more bad eggs, and I'm going to stay on top of this summer, because that was that was not a pleasant experience first thing in the morning. So I'm making some boiled eggs in the Instant Pot. I will leave a link in the description box of a blog post I did on how to make the perfect boiled eggs in the Instant Pot, and you can try these out for yourself. I'm going to be making a salad for dinner this evening, and so I'm going to be making some sourdough croutons. Now, I've told you all this before, but I keep a lot of sourdough bread in the freezer. I like to make it up, keep it in the freezer, and I can make breadcrumbs, croutons, or just get it out for sandwiches, and it really is a good thing to have on hand. I'm going to get these ready. They stay in the oven for like an hour at 325, but they are so crunchy, so good, and the salad is just up a notch when you make homemade sourdough croutons. They're so easy to make. I'm going to get these boiled eggs out into some cold water so that they can cool off, and I'm just going to put them back in the egg cartons in the fridge and label them boiled eggs, and we'll just eat on those for a long time. They'll last really good. It's kind of like a temporary way to preserve eggs that are getting a little bit older. Now I'm on my last batch of stinging nettle that I've been dehydrating, and then I'll have all of that taken care of for the home apothecary. I won't put that up, and come winter time, when for sure we'll probably need this for maybe a cold or some congestion or something, then it will come in so handy. If you have never foraged for stinging nettle and dehydrated it, it just makes a really strong and good tea. I really enjoy it. I just put them in the dehydrator 95 degrees for about 6 to 8 hours, and then put them in a jar, and I seal it, and it's ready for me when I need it. So here's that ancient wheat sourdough discard bread. I have a feeling that to fix this bread, I mean, it turned out okay. It's not that it wasn't good, but I mean, to make it to a point where I would be comfortable bringing it to you all on the blog, I'm going to decrease the yeast. I'm going to keep everything the same. I think one thing that I've noticed with ancient wheat is that if you add yeast to it, sometimes it has a tendency to overproof a little quicker. So I am going to decrease the yeast on this one and see if I can get the perfect ancient wheat sourdough discard loaf to bring to the blog. Again, these were delicious, and they were fine, but they did overproof a bit right before I got them in the oven, and a little more crumbly than what I like. So still working on this one, but be looking for it. If you're watching this in the future, maybe head over to the blog if you're interested in it and look for sourdough spelt discard sandwich bread. I think that's what I'm going to call it. There are those croutons. They turned out so good. Now for lunch, I'm just pulling some out of the freezer again, bagels. I keep tons of bread products in my freezer, and we just go through them as we need them, and then I'll replenish when we start getting low with our bread products. And I just made some egg salad with those boiled eggs that I made a little bit earlier, and it was so good. If you haven't tried my sourdough bagels, I'll link those down below. They are so good. They freeze up perfect. I reheat them and they turn out just like fresh. Getting the bread out of the oven. They did turn out okay. They split a little because they were overproofed and they didn't rise quite as much as I wanted to in the oven. So I'm going to keep working on this one. I love to work on recipes and get them worked out so that I can bring them to you all to try. Now we've been getting tons of peas and we're starting to slow down with those. It's going to be time to pressure can these next week. We would have done it this week, but with Casey being sick, I've just been putting them in the freezer, and we will pull those out next week and get all of these peas put up in the pressure canner and have them ready for the winter time. Well, I'm going to make some dinner. I decided to make a big salad, have some mushrooms. I sauteed these mushrooms because that's how I like my mushrooms. So I don't like raw mushrooms. Do you like raw mushrooms? Let me know down below if you eat raw mushrooms. I don't. And I don't know why, but I just can't. I have to saute mine, and that may be completely weird. So I've never asked anybody. But yeah, we're going to have a big salad, pick these greens from the garden, and have those croutons. And I made a honey mustard dressing to go on top. Well, I hope that you enjoyed spending some time with me today as I picked up the slack and did a few things that I don't normally do to help my husband out while he's down, and hopefully he won't have to do that for me for a long time, but it happens, and that's what makes a beautiful marriage, is just helping each other. One being strong, the other is weak, and then those roles will reverse, and that's the beautiful part of it. We're one, and we take care of each other. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I enjoyed spending some time with you all today. We will see you all on the next video.